Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is enjoying their day. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Jill returns, confronts Billy for using Chance's tragedy to boost his career. The Young and the Restless, Y&R, spoilers tease that Jill Abbott, Jess Walton, will return for Chance Chancellor's, Connor Floyd, memorial service. She wants to pay her respects to her grandson, and she has a few choice words to tell her son, Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson. Get updates on the latest news about The Young and the Restless, straight to your inbox. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. What is this? Billy has made some questionable decisions in the past few months. She won't be happy with Billy's choice to align with Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, especially considering that Chance's murder was connected to Kane. Jill returns to Genoa City. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Jill will return to Genoa City for Chance's memorial service. Nina Webster, Trisha Cast, will likely return to mourn the profound loss. Jill won't understand how this could happen. The women learn that Carter, Vincent Stalba, killed Damian Kane, Jermaine Rivers, to remove the romantic obstacle for Kane. Carter knew that Kane wanted to be with Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, again. When Kane confronted Carter about Damian's murder, Carter grabbed Lily with a loaded gun to her shoulder. In a heated confrontation, Carter turned the gun on Chance, then ended his life. Carter, Chance, and Damian died in France, with everyone left to pick up the pieces of everything that transpired. What is this? When Jill and Nina learn of the circumstances of Chance's murder, they unravel. They cannot believe that Chance is gone, and agreed that Kane was responsible, even if he didn't pull the trigger himself. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Jill loses her cool when she learns that Billy is desperate for Kane to buy into his company, Abbott Communications. Billy also wants Kane to help him acquire Chancellor Industries. Jill confronts Billy. Jill cannot believe that Billy intends to use Chance's murder to benefit his career. She finds it in poor taste to use a tragedy to make a deal to save Abbott Communications and make a play for Chancellor Industries. She learns that Billy told Lily that his business dealings with Kane were his way of honoring Chance. The thought of Billy stooping that low makes his mother's stomach turn. Jill confronts Billy, telling him that he is so blinded by his career goals to see the truth about Kane. The Young and the Restless spoilers state that Jill thinks Kane is a con man and feels absolutely sick that Billy has been fooled and is ready to use Chance's murder to benefit his career. Y&R fans, do you think Kane will make a deal with Billy? Please share your thoughts with us in the comments section below. Remember to. Jill Abbott's long-awaited return to Genoa City is set to stir up major drama as she confronts her son, Billy Abbott, over what she sees as a shocking betrayal. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Jill's arrival comes in the wake of Chance Chancellor's recent tragedy, an event that has left the entire community reeling. While most of the family has been rallying around Chance and doing their best to support him through this difficult time, Jill is outraged to discover that Billy may have been using the heartbreaking situation for personal gain. According to insider whispers, Jill learns that Billy has been positioning himself as a hero and sympathetic figure in the wake of Chance's ordeal, leveraging the public's emotional response to boost his own career and profile. This doesn't sit well with Jill, who has always prided herself on keeping family matters private, and she sees Billy's actions as opportunistic and self-serving. The moment she confronts him is expected to be explosive, with years of tension and unresolved issues between mother and son boiling to the surface. Billy has never taken kindly to Jill's criticisms, and this time, he might feel justified in his choices. In his mind, telling Chance's story could bring awareness, generate sympathy, and even open new doors that could benefit the family in the long run. But Jill doesn't buy it for a second. She believes that Billy is blurring the line between professional ambition and family loyalty, something she cannot forgive easily. This confrontation is rumored to happen in the Chancellor Mansion, with Jill arriving unannounced, determined to set the record straight. She's expected to lay into Billy for his lack of discretion and for capitalizing on someone else's pain, especially when that someone is family. Meanwhile, Chance himself might be caught in the middle of this war of words, unsure whether to defend Billy's intentions or side with Jill's outrage. The fallout from this confrontation could extend far beyond just Jill and Billy's already complicated relationship. If Jill decides to take more control over business matters to keep Billy in check, it could spark a new power struggle within the Abbott and Chancellor circles. Longtime viewers know Jill is not one to hold back when she feels a moral line has been crossed, and this latest scandal could lead to alliances shifting and new rivalries emerging. With tensions running high and emotions raw, the young and the restless fans can expect intense dialogue, fiery confrontations, and possibly even some unexpected consequences that will ripple through Genoa City. This storyline promises to challenge family loyalties, redefine relationships, and remind viewers that in Genoa City, nothing stays buried for long, especially when Jill Abbott is involved. Jill's fiery return doesn't just end with her explosive confrontation with Billy, it's the spark that ignites a much larger battle in Genoa City. The young and the restless spoilers tease that after leaving the Chancellor Mansion, Jill wastes no time rallying her allies. She reaches out to Devon and Lily, determined to make them see the potential damage Billy's behavior could cause to both Chance and the Chancellor legacy. Devon, who's already had his share of clashes with Billy over business and personal matters, listens closely as Jill lays out her case. She warns that if Billy keeps using Chance's tragedy for career gain, the public perception of Chancellor Winters could take a major hit. Lily, however, is more conflicted. As Billy's ex and business partner, she knows he can be reckless, but she's also aware that his storytelling instincts often come from a genuine place. This puts her in the uncomfortable position of having to choose between defending Billy and siding with Jill, who clearly wants to rein him in. Meanwhile, Chance is dealing with the emotional fallout of his tragedy and the unwanted attention it's bringing. He's grateful for the support he's received, but he starts to question whether Billy's recent actions are truly about helping him or more about putting himself in the spotlight. Abby becomes protective of Chance, warning Billy to back off before the situation escalates further. Billy, feeling attacked from all sides, doubles down and insists he's doing nothing wrong, that telling Chance's story is inspiring people and drawing attention to important issues. But his defensiveness only fuels Jill's suspicion that he's in it for himself. The tension builds toward an inevitable public showdown. Jill leaks word to the press that she's stepping back into a more active role at Chancellor Winters to protect the family legacy, a move clearly aimed at undercutting Billy's influence. This doesn't go unnoticed by Victor Newman, who sees an opportunity to stir the pot for his own gain. Victor hints to Jill that he has information about Billy's recent activities, details that could destroy his credibility entirely. Whether Jill takes the bait or not remains to be seen, but one thing is certain, she's not backing down until Billy faces the consequences of his actions. By the time the dust settles, alliances will be tested, Billy's career could be on the line, and Chance may be forced to publicly address the family drama. What started as a tragedy could end in a full-blown power war, and with Jill Abbott in battle mode, no one in Genoa City is safe from the fallout. The storm Jill kicked up begins spreading across Genoa City faster than either she or Billy anticipated. The young and the restless spoilers hint that Billy's frustration over Jill's interference pushes him to take an even bolder, riskier step, one that could either vindicate him or completely destroy his standing. Determined to prove he's not exploiting Chance's tragedy, Billy starts working on an in-depth investigative piece about the incident, aiming to uncover the real truth about what happened to Chance. He frames it as an effort to clear Chance's name and bring justice, but his methods quickly raise red flags. He begins digging into police records, contacting witnesses, and pressing Chance for details he's not ready to share. Chance, already struggling with emotional wounds, starts feeling cornered. Abby becomes even more protective, telling Chance that Billy's so-called journalistic integrity is nothing more than an excuse to manipulate the situation for personal gain. Abby decides to go to Jill directly, not to plead with her, but to demand she put a stop to Billy's relentless pursuit before it causes irreparable harm. This conversation leaves Jill even more determined to act. She realizes that if she doesn't take firm control, Billy's ambition could drive a wedge through the entire family. Devon, watching from the sidelines, sees a dangerous opportunity. If Jill and Billy's feud escalates enough, it could weaken Billy's position at Chancellor Winters and open the door for Devon to consolidate more power. Lily, however, feels increasingly torn. She doesn't want to betray her loyalty to the company, but she also knows Billy's actions are becoming indefensible. Her attempts to mediate only make her a target for both sides, with Jill accusing her of enabling Billy and Billy accusing her of taking Jill's side. Victor, sensing chaos, begins laying the groundwork for his own advantage. He quietly orders Michael Baldwin to start gathering any damaging information on Billy, knowing that a scandal could give him leverage in business negotiations with both the Abbotts and the Chancellors. Jack, upon hearing about Jill's return and her accusations, steps in to defend his brother, but his intervention only leads to another heated exchange between the Abbott and Chancellor camps. The public, meanwhile, starts buzzing with speculation. Rumors swirl about Billy's motives, Jill's return, and the true nature of Chance's tragedy. Social media chatter paints Billy as either a selfless hero or a self-promoting opportunist. Jill knows that perception is everything in Genoa City, and she's determined to ensure Billy lands in the latter category if he won't back down. By the time the next week rolls around, the tension is at a boiling point, with Jill preparing to make a very public move that could strip Billy of his influence altogether, something that will not only change his life but shift the balance of power in Genoa City for years to come. Jill's plan to publicly dismantle Billy's credibility takes shape in dramatic fashion, and the young and the restless spoilers tease that her strategy will be nothing short of ruthless. She arranges an exclusive televised interview with a major Genoa City media outlet, positioning herself as the concerned matriarch determined to protect the family legacy and shield loved ones from exploitation. While she never says Billy's name outright, the pointed references to ambition at the expense of integrity and turning personal tragedy into a publicity stunt leave no doubt about who she's targeting. Billy catches wind of the interview minutes before it airs and storms into Chancellor Winters in a fury. He confronts Lily, demanding she help him stop it from being broadcast, but she hesitates, partly because she's furious with him for pushing Chance too hard, and partly because she knows Jill's influence is almost impossible to counter once she sets her sights on someone. When the interview goes live, social media explodes. Comments pour in from viewers who suddenly see Billy as a manipulator rather than a crusader, and some business partners begin to quietly distance themselves from him. Chance, caught in the middle, feels the walls closing in. He's sick of the headlines and the family feuding, but Jill's accusations make him question whether Billy's intentions were ever pure. Abby urges him to cut ties completely, warning that as long as Billy remains in the picture, the focus will never be on healing but on drama. Jack, however, refuses to let Jill destroy his brother without a fight. He calls a meeting with Billy, urging him to shift the narrative before Jill's version of events becomes the accepted truth. Jack even offers to pull in the Abbott PR team to help craft a counter-story, but Billy's pride won't let him admit he needs rescuing. Meanwhile, Devon starts making subtle moves behind the scenes, redirecting projects, reallocating budgets, and quietly securing allies who will back him when the time comes to vote Billy out of the company. Lily notices the changes but is too distracted by the family crisis to connect the dots. Victor, watching everything unravel, steps in with his own offer, to help Billy salvage his career in exchange for certain favors that would benefit Newman Enterprises. Billy knows better than to trust Victor, but with his options dwindling, he's tempted. By the end of the week, Jill prepares to take the final step, pushing for an emergency board meeting to vote on removing Billy from his executive position. With Devon lining up support, Lily's loyalties wavering, and public opinion turning sharply against him, Billy may find himself outmaneuvered on every front. What started as Jill's fury over his treatment of Chance has now spiraled into a corporate and personal war, and if Billy can't turn things around fast, he could lose not just his career but his standing in the Abbott family forever. The emergency board meeting Jill calls becomes the centerpiece of one of the most explosive weeks Genoa City has seen in years, and the young and the restless spoilers suggest the fallout will be massive. Jill arrives at Chancellor Winter's exuding authority, flanked by Devon, who has quietly secured several key votes in her favor. The conference room is packed, board members, company lawyers, and even a few curious employees lurking near the door. Lily sits at the head of the table, her expression tense, knowing she may be forced to take a definitive stand against someone she's been both close to personally and professionally. Billy enters late, deliberately making the room wait for him, but the confidence he's projecting is hiding a growing sense of dread. He knows the numbers aren't in his favor, but he's banking on a surprise. Jack has promised to show up with evidence that could discredit Jill's accusations and swing a few votes back his way. Before the meeting begins, Victor sends Billy a cryptic text, "Last chance to accept my offer. Could make all this disappear." Billy ignores it for now, but the temptation gnaws at him. Jill lays out her case in meticulous detail. She accuses Billy of exploiting Chance's tragedy for personal branding, risking the company's reputation, and alienating both clients and family. Devon backs her up with financial projections showing a recent dip in investor confidence tied to the negative press. Billy pushes back hard, accusing Jill of orchestrating a smear campaign to regain control of the company. He insists his coverage of Chance's story was meant to inspire, not manipulate, and calls Devon a hypocrite for pretending to care about optics when he's been making his own quiet power plays. The room becomes a battlefield of verbal jabs and personal digs. Lily tries to steer the conversation toward professionalism, but emotions run too high. Just when it seems Jill has the upper hand, Jack bursts in, holding a folder. He announces he has proof that a rival media outlet, one with ties to Newman Enterprises, was responsible for amplifying the negative coverage of Billy, implying that Victor himself may have manipulated the narrative to weaken Chancellor Winters. Gasps ripple through the room. Jill is thrown off balance for the first time, but she doesn't back down. She accuses Billy and Jack of deflecting blame instead of taking responsibility. Devon calls for a vote, but Lily interrupts, demanding they delay any decision until the truth about Victor's involvement is investigated. The board reluctantly agrees, giving Billy a temporary reprieve. Outside the conference room, Billy confronts Jack, furious that he didn't bring this proof to him sooner. Jack warns him that the fight isn't over and that Victor will come at him harder than ever now. Meanwhile, Jill retreats to her suite at the Grand Phoenix, where she makes a mysterious phone call. "It didn't work today, but it will next time. We just need a little more leverage." What Jill doesn't know is that her call is overheard by an unexpected eavesdropper, someone ready to use that information for their own gain, setting the stage for an even deadlier round in the Abbott-Chancellor war. The eavesdropper turns out to be none other than Audra Charles, who just happened to be at the Grand Phoenix meeting a client when she caught Jill's voice drifting from the slightly ajar suite door. The young and the restless spoilers say Audra wastes no time putting the pieces together. Jill is working with someone, and that someone might hold the key to destroying Billy once and for all. Audra knows valuable intel when she hears it, and she's already envisioning how she can leverage this to her advantage in both business and her own climb to power. Meanwhile, Billy, still fuming from the board meeting, begins to suspect that Jill's campaign against him is more than just family disapproval, it's strategic. Jack warns him that Jill's mysterious leverage could be a bombshell waiting to detonate, but they can't fight what they can't see. Billy considers taking Victor's offer again, justifying it as a means to protect himself and the company, but the idea of owing Victor Newman anything still makes his skin crawl. Chance, who's been keeping a low profile to avoid the circus, is pulled back into the spotlight when a gossip blog publishes a damning article suggesting he's been covering for Billy's misconduct. Abby is livid, immediately suspecting that someone in Jill's camp leaked selective details to sway public opinion. She confronts Jill directly at Society, their argument drawing stares from every table. Jill remains cool and insists she had nothing to do with the leak, but the slight smirk she tries to hide tells Abby she's lying. Devon, sensing an opportunity to seal Billy's fate, quietly approaches Audra to discuss mutually beneficial arrangements. Audra plays coy, hinting that she might have information that could tip the scales but refusing to reveal details without something in return. She's clearly enjoying her position as the wild card in the unfolding power struggle. Lily finds herself cornered when both Billy and Jill demand her loyalty in separate, heated conversations. Billy pleads with her to remember their shared history and trust his intentions, while Jill warns her that siding with Billy could tank the company's reputation for years. Lily's stress reaches a breaking point, and she begins questioning whether she can continue working with either of them. The tension builds toward another critical board showdown, but this time the stakes are even higher. Audra's leverage is about to surface, Victor's hand in the smear campaign is creeping closer to exposure, and Chance is finally ready to speak his mind about the chaos his tragedy has unleashed. In the final moments of the week, Audra sends a single text, to both Jill and Billy, containing the same cryptic message, "I know who you're working with. Meet me, alone. Or everyone will." The stage is set for a collision that could not only shatter careers but also blow apart the already fragile bonds within the Abbott and Chancellor families. Audra's text sets off an immediate chain reaction, and the young and the restless spoilers say the next chapter in this feud will be pure fireworks. Jill receives the message while in a late-night strategy session with her mystery partner, none other than Tucker McCall. It turns out Jill had quietly brought Tucker into her corner weeks earlier, hoping his cunning and corporate ruthlessness could help her regain control at Chancellor Winters. Tucker's motivations, of course, aren't purely altruistic. Taking Billy down also serves his own agenda to destabilize the Abbotts and leave a power vacuum he can exploit. Billy, on the other hand, gets the same message while nursing a drink at Society with Jack. He reads it twice, instantly realizing someone knows more than they should. Jack urges caution, reminding Billy that Audra, never plays fair and that walking into a meeting with her could be like stepping into a tiger's den with a stake around your neck. But Billy, cornered and desperate, is tempted to take the risk. Audra chooses the GCAC rooftop as the meeting spot, the perfect place for clandestine power moves. She meets Jill first, presenting her with just enough of what she overheard to prove she knows about Tucker's involvement. Then she names her price, a seat at the executive table at Chancellor Winters and a hefty payout. Jill masks her irritation but takes the deal under consideration. After all, silencing Audra might be cheaper than the public fallout if her alliance with Tucker were exposed. Hours later, Billy arrives for his own meeting with Audra. She plays it differently this time, offering to give him everything she knows in exchange for him backing her future projects and helping her push Devon out of a key position. Billy bristles at the idea but is intrigued by her claim that Jill's alliance with Tucker is deeper than anyone realizes, and that they may have been behind the smear campaigns and leaks from the very beginning. While these private negotiations unfold, Abby meets with Chance at Crimson Lights, urging him to finally speak publicly about what happened. She insists that his silence is making it too easy for people like Jill and Billy to twist the narrative for their own gain. Chance reluctantly agrees to hold a press conference, but warns Abby that telling the truth might expose dangerous secrets he's been keeping, not just about the tragedy, but about people they both know. By the end of the week, Jill has told Tucker about Audra's threats, and Tucker, true to form, decides the solution is to destroy Audra before she can destroy them. Meanwhile, Billy debates whether to go public with Audra's intel, knowing it could devastate Jill's reputation but also drag the entire family through another round of humiliation. The pieces are now on the board for a showdown involving Jill, Billy, Tucker, Audra, and Chance, each holding part of the truth, each ready to make their move. What no one realizes is that Victor has been watching all of it unfold, quietly collecting every scrap of leverage, and when he decides to step in, the game will change completely.